Congress should pass $2,000 checks.
This is an attack on every American.
After Donald Trump came out to support $2,000 in a direct payment, Amy Klobuchar went on television to embarrass herself. Now, I really want to make this a video over Democratic messaging, because I'm going to show you two different clips here. One, Amy Klobuchar, the other, Jon Ossoff. Jon Ossoff is the Democratic candidate in Georgia going up against David Perdue, because it really shows you horrible Democratic messaging versus great Democratic messaging, even though both of these politicians are centrist, moderate Democrats that don't support things like Medicare for All or Green New Deal. But the way they approach the messaging here matters. The way they are fighting or not fighting Republicans here matters. There is a clear difference. Now, before I even get to these clips, I have to also acknowledge, as I discussed in my breakdown video on this, that of course Trump never backed any of this before the election. There was a $3.4 trillion House bill that was passed over the summer that never went to the Senate. It included direct payments, and Mitch McConnell rejected it back then. So to come out now and say, oh, now I support this direct payment, it's BS. But that said, when it gets to the actual messaging, how Democrats use this matters, because this helps to inform people who is actually fighting for you and who is not. So I've debated here who to show first. I was going to show Amy Klobuchar first, but this clip, she's so terrible that I think a lot of you will close the window when she starts talking. So I'm actually going to start with the great clip, and that's Jon Ossoff here responding to Donald Trump backing the $2,000 in direct payment.
So it sounds like President Trump, in your mind, is right. It's just that he came too late with his proposed amendments. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know where President Trump has been for the last 8 months while his allies in the U.S. Senate have been blocking this relief. President Trump is, as ever, erratic and all over the place. But on this point tonight, he's right. $600 is a joke. They should send $2,000 checks to the American people right now because people are hurting. And David Perdue, my opponent, who opposed even the first round of $1,200 checks. Imagine that. Imagine a sitting U.S. senator who was profiting from the pandemic buying medical and vaccine stocks, opposed even the first single round of $1,200 checks, has obstructed direct relief for the last 8 months, and now decided he wanted to cut it down to $600 when people can barely feed their families through no fault of their own. Congress should pass $2,000 checks. They should have done it 2 months ago.
All right. This is fantastic. Again, Jon Ossoff is not a progressive, doesn't support any of the big ticket items that people on the left are fighting for. But when it comes to fighting Republicans, this should be the bare minimum. Jon Ossoff here understands how to discuss this issue. Where was Trump? Where's Trump been for a year? He's been opposing direct payments. He opposed the House bill. And now all of a sudden he's coming out and still acknowledging that, yes, still, Trump is right. Even though he's late to the party, he is correct that these payments should be $2,000. And then he even ties it into his race against David Perdue and how Perdue has opposed all direct payments so far. This is brilliant messaging. He threads the needle here perfectly. Now, compare this to Amy Klobuchar. Klobuchar here on Rachel Maddow's show on MSNBC.
And now he's saying that he's going to veto it. There is some nuance to it, with him saying that he wants a larger size payment to the American people, which is something that Democrats argued for at every step of the process. And now House Democrats say, OK, well, if that's what he wants, we'll provide him with that. I wonder just what you make of this very last minute scramble of what we thought was going to proceed here with this relief bill.
I kept thinking tonight, well, these pardons are an attack on our very democracy. This is an attack on every American. People who are struggling to get by right now, out of work, the unemployment is going to basically end the day after Christmas if this doesn't pass. People who are out of work, people who need the help. The vaccine distribution, Rachel, is in this $30 billion. These vaccines are not going to just parachute into a small town in the middle of Minnesota. We need the help for the states to get the vaccines out. And he is literally undermining our entire effort on testing and vaccine distribution. This was a hard-fought negotiation. Of course, you're right. Democrats were pushing for more funds for the individual payments. But in the end, This was a negotiation, and he knows very well we're reaching the end here with the unemployment, with our small businesses can't take it anymore. One Yelp study early in the year showed we were having 800 small businesses close a day. And there's over $300 billion to help small businesses in this bill. It is the second biggest stimulus in the history of America. And for him to turn this down, obviously we have the votes to override his veto in the houses. We have those votes. But he should not be doing this right now when his own Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin, was involved in the negotiations from beginning to end. He is literally trying to burn this country down on his way out, as I said at the beginning. And all we can do is push and make it very clear as we go into these Senate races in Georgia, Rachel, which party has people's back and which party is in the White House.
All right. First, I would like to apologize for subjecting you to that. In fact, I may even cut the clip down. It is a 2 minutes and 16 seconds long. It felt like it was 10 minutes. I mean, she goes on and on and on there. This is an attack on every American. Wanting to increase the direct payments is an attack on every American. Now, she's trying to tie it into Trump is simply delaying the process. But what she could be doing instead is putting it to Mitch McConnell, saying, yes, okay, I agree. I agree with this $2,000. Let's see what Mitch McConnell says. Because, look, Pelosi, Schumer, Bernie, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Democrats are coming out and supporting this $2,000 in direct payments. Why is Amy Klobuchar out here on MSNBC saying this is an attack on every American and fighting the idea of increasing the direct payments to $2,000? All she has to do here is put it on Mitch McConnell because it could pass the House. It goes to Mitch McConnell in the Senate. He has to pass it. He has to agree to the $2,000. Why is she shooting herself in the foot here? Amy Klobuchar is terrible. If it wasn't already obvious from the primary campaign, it's obvious here. This is somebody who, again, essentially has the same positions as Jon Ossoff does, but has absolutely no idea how to fight Republicans. Even if she didn't agree with increasing it to $2,000, she knows that it would not pass Mitch McConnell. So put that on him. It is incredible how completely incompetent some senators are, and this is a perfect example of that.